Hi, in today's office hours, we're going to discuss client onboarding and how it can really impact your revenue. But before I get too further into this conversation, what is client onboarding? Client onboarding is simply the process from bringing the client into your ecosystem after they've invested or paid for your product or service. What I mean by that is you get on a call with someone, maybe you're having a sales call with them, and they've decided to invest in your program. Well, you send them the invoice, and from there, everything starts. And what I mean by everything is there should be a process of onboarding that new client into your ecosystem. A lot of new business owners struggle with that area. I can clearly remember my own experience of being on the user side, the customer side of a good experience or a great experience and a poor one. And especially the poor one is very clear in my head right now. I can clearly say what the differences were. But first, let's just get back to client boarding onboarding itself. This is a part of the process because when you have your new client, what happens? You're going to have a process that leads them to one, understand what the routine will be. If it's a coach or maybe some type of group program, they will be given instructions, they will be given a welcome and some instructions. You set the expectation of what for them to expect to come once they come aboard. You may have logistical things to give to them, and you want to give them all of these things up front. It can be a simple process, but so many business owners treat it like just paperwork, and it really isn't. This is your time to shine, to give the best impression. The first impression they're going to have of your business is when you get onboarded. And clearly, if it's poor, that impression is going to follow you throughout the whole process. And we don't want that to happen. How can we make it a better process? First, we're going to talk about how this can impact your income because so many people don't know that there are little things that you can do to show your appreciation to your new client and your regular ongoing clients. I'm sure you've heard that the stats for retaining a client, it's cheaper to retain an existing client. Well, when we get new clients, wouldn't we like to hold on to them? Can we keep them and move them through the process? We should want to do that. That because it's so much cheaper. But besides that, we want to give them an amazing impression. And I'm going to give you 5 reasons why you should work a little harder and be more intentional when you create your client onboarding um, process or system. In the comments, does anybody not have a client onboarding system right now? Tell me in the comments. First, the first area that we want to focus on is what's our client's journey? From the beginning where we become aware, they become aware of us. What is that journey? Are they going to start with some free thing that we have? Are we a public speaker and we get in front of people's audiences and they're brought in that way? When they become aware and then they show interest and then they actually buy, that is the beginning of the onboarding process for you. What does that involve in your business? Maybe you're a coach. Say, let me use an example. If I were a fitness coach and I had a new client for my one-to-one program, my process would look a little bit like, hey, we have a sales call where we get on and talk. I would have some type of small questionnaire before the sales call to get as much information as I could. We get on the sales call. Before we get on the sales call, I've already started my process. I have a document, I have an agreement or a contract, I have a welcome letter already created. I have an email list where that person is added to along with the other things in the process. I have a scheduler so that they can easily book their calls with me. All of that information is included on a welcome email. Hi, hello Ty, hello Kay. Hi everyone. Hi ladies. So as that fitness coach, I'm going to have that welcome letter already ready. I'm going to have a process that maybe creates some. Now, if anybody knows me, they know I love automation and streamlining businesses. So before we even go any further with that welcome, are we going to have it linked? Absolutely. When that person pays the invoice, Zapier, my favorite integration tool, will send a notice to my email marketing software to, hey, add this person to this list, tag them, and send them this welcome email. And that welcome email will have been created to include everything I think my client needs to know. Some of the things they need to know is a welcome to our community, a welcome to me, an expectation of what we're going to go over in the program, the links I talked about, a scheduler link. But most importantly, oh, Ty says she's learning about what the process needs to be. Well, good for you because I've worked with so many people and they're so confused about why their clients expect so many different things or why they come to them with all these different questions like within the first week. You can eliminate all of that with an amazing onboarding process. Nip all that stuff in the bud. And it saves you time. Besides making the client feel, okay, I'm welcome. I'm special. They've onboarded me properly. I know what to expect. I know about the calls. It helps you have some clarity and not have to jump behind because a lot of some you'd be surprised how many people are still doing like individual. They had a call with somebody, they sent them some information, and the person buys at 2 o'clock in the morning. They push the button and they wake up like, oh, this person bought. I've got to send them a personal email welcome, and I've got to send. No, not for onboarding. Onboarding should be a process. One thing clients like is consistency. So what you do for Susie Q, you need to do for Bobby Joe, and you need to do for, Terry Ann. All three of these women need to get the same process, especially when they're the same type of client. Now maybe you onboard your maybe group programs differently from your one to one. That's obvious, but everybody needs an onboarding process, even if it's just as small as a card, a note saying, thank you for joining us. We really appreciate you coming to our community. I joined a book club and I received such a cute little card and it was personal. It was thank you. In her handwriting, she wrote, thank you for joining our community. I look forward to spending time with you. That made me feel good. I wasn't expecting this book club. And we do virtual calls. I started reading my book and looking at my other little goodies, but that note was in there with that package and it made me feel good and special. That's our goal, having our new client to feel good and special and that they're the most important VIP in the business because they are. They really are. But we need them to feel like it because first impression, last impression. And how your clients see you will show up we want to build all throughout the process. We want to build relationships. We don't want to have people think of us, especially with done for you service businesses. You want to build a relationship right away so they understand we're partners. I'm not a vendor for you. We are partners. And they will treat you like that if you respond to them like that. You greet them with that type of energy. So back to my example, I'll just share my example of a poor one and my example of an amazing onboarding. My poor example was it was a paid event and it was a virtual, which I had attended lots of paid events that were in person, usually chaos, but they had really good customer service. The virtual one, I didn't receive a confirmation. I paid my money. I was like, "What was this a scam or something? What's going on? I paid. I don't have an email confirmation." I waited a couple of days. I was looking for emails. They sent me one selling something else that they're doing, but they didn't send me that. So confirmation. So I had to reach out to them in 3 emails to get the information that they were supposed to give me. And it was like the day before that I received it. No, ma'am. Mm-mm. My most amazing experience was a retreat. We had calls, and when I had my onboarding, he had a questionnaire. I completed the questionnaire. I booked the call, my next onboarding call, because she had sessions. And before the call, she sent me like an email welcoming me and saying that she is excited to talk to me. But before that call came, I received this beautiful box, and it had things that were reflected in my questionnaire. I didn't really pay attention to why she asked those questions. I just figured, this stuff, we're gonna do that stuff in Italy or whatever. I don't know. But the box was all about me. It had my favorite color. It had I'm not really a coffee person. I'm more of a tea person. It had I'm a note taker and a planner. It had all those things in the box, and I was just like, how did you know this stuff about me? And I'm like, oh, duh, you sent up the questionnaire. And I was like, this is genius. I felt so connected to her all throughout that whole process, even when she received us, when we landed in Venice. It was just the whole thing was amazing. And I swore then that all my client experiences were going to be the same way because I knew how I felt. I knew how much it set me up to be all in on everything that she said. And I want that for you. I want you to have the same type of client onboarding process for yourself. So we're going to talk a little bit about some of the impacts that they can have a great client onboarding system. And tomorrow, I'm going to show you a little bit of a peek at what my client onboarding system looks like for more, do this for the membership I have, but it's more for one-on-one and, retreats or something. But I'm going to show you what it looks like and how you can set yours up tomorrow. But right now, we're going to talk about those 5 ways and what they look like that can impact your business when it comes to having a great customer onboarding process, but also showing your appreciation right away. Because this is really about showing your appreciation, how excited you are having the clients right away. So, number one, remember I said first impression, last impression. You want to get the halo effect, which means when they say psychology wise that your first impression, if it's warm and generous and organized, the client just automatically, subconsciously assumes that the work that they're going to do with you is going to be the same way. So if you're a fitness coach and you want everything to seem, easy, laid back, fun, you're going to onboard them with a similar vibe and show your appreciation as well in the same vibe because you want them to feel like that. And they're also going to assume that it's high quality as well. This can reduce friction, especially with fitness. We know that that's a tough area for some people. They're going to be transforming into somebody that they currently are not, and that's going to take a lot of work. So we want to reduce all the friction that may be involved. Clients who will trust you early are most likely to do what you follow your instructions. They won't be nitpicky about invoices, asking a gajillion questions, or questioning your strategy and your ideas because they have already started the trust process. And you spend less time with what I call high maintenance people because you either screen them out ahead of time or they are less inclined to become those people. So that's just having a great first impression because you showed some appreciation. I gave you an example of how I received appreciation, but I'm going to give you an example of how I appreciate my clients as well. Um, the next one is you want to trigger the law of reciprocity. Because when you do something nice for someone, without them asking, they kind of like are drawn to doing something back for you. And I've had that happen a lot with just helping people, freely helping them, giving them advice, giving them tips and resources. They will send somebody or introduce me to some people that I wouldn't have known on my own. They do that. When a client receives a thoughtful, and I mean thoughtful welcome gift, they're more likely to reciprocate with referrals or introducing you to somebody way before I mean, this happened before I even finished what the project was. We had like just got started and I was already receiving introductory emails from some other people. I've already told her how fabulous you are, and I just because I was thoughtful and gave a welcome gift. That's part of it. And it just sends the energy just comes in differently. Right away, they're already becoming sales agents for you from doing small steps like that. Um, and we all know referrals convert better than just about anything else, especially when it comes to warm leads, and their lifetime value is higher too. And I found that in my experience to be true. So we talked halo effect, the law of reciprocity. This next one, I like this because it kills buyer's remorse. We all know that people buy with emotion and justify with logic. But if they don't feel right, they can like they sign the contract and 5 minutes later they're like, I don't know, is this the right choice? Oh, that was a lot of money. I don't know. That's your danger zone. So by, being proactive and already showing them how appreciative you are, you're welcoming them. They feel special. They feel welcome and appreciated. That's less likely to happen. And it's just a tangible show of appreciation that can be sort of like a emotional anchor to connect you with your client. Can you imagine as a fitness I'll use a fitness example. You're a fitness coach and you've got this new person. You are not going to be sending them any brownies. You're probably going to send them something that maybe you had a questionnaire and they said, oh, well, when I have set my milestones, I love soft materials and scarves and I'm always cold. And you send a nice soft pashima scarf or something. Send her something nice. And it's her favorite color. She's going to be impressed. And you didn't send her food like everybody else, or you sent her a Starbucks card because she said she loved their black coffee or their blonde roast or something. So you sent her that. But small little gestures help them in their head validate, oh, yeah, this is a good decision. I like her already. It's a good decision. And there's ways to do it without feeling like you're bribing anybody because you don't want that. This is just a genuine show of appreciation. And it makes both you and your client feel good about it. And that way you have less churn, less people wanting to back out, whether or not you have a no refunds or not. You don't want people asking for anything just because they got cold feet, which is mostly what I'm talking about, buyer's remorse. The next one improves your lifetime value and can increase that because clients stay where they feel special, where they feel seen, where they're having fun. And can we do all of that, especially as a fitness coach? They're going to enjoy you. I was watching somebody in the gym. They were so bubbly and excited when their coach came in. I'm like, bubbly and excited. She must be doing a fantastic job, or there's some kind of process because I can't remember ever feeling bubbly and excited about doing squats or lunges or any of that stuff. But she was quite animated and happy. So obviously somebody's doing something good there. She did something, and she was a new client for that person because that was like I think only their second meet or something. But showing those tangible gestures of appreciation, Ty wants to know what kind of things were asked on your questionnaire when you got the gift you like. Oh, with the Italy, she was asking, what are some of your favorite places to go? I know you're a traveler. What have been some of your favorite places, and what was most memorable about that place? Another one she asked was, what makes you feel special when you go out with your family? What makes you feel special? She did ask about favorite foods and drinks. She asked about what. Oh, one question was really good because it was about the retreat. What makes you anxious about travel? Not regular travel, international travel. And I said, I don't like flying. I only fly when I'm going international, and I hate the hassle of trying to get a ride to where I'm going. And she had somebody come pick us up. And I do the same thing because I know how I felt when this person was with a sign, pull that Mercedes up, and I got in it. I was just like, I'm doing that for all my retreats. I'm doing that for all my clients because it was just amazing. For all her questions, they felt like she worded them and kind of connected them like logistical, like, that one of the, like it's admin for our event. So I can help you and make sure that everybody gets everything they need. And she would like throw in the little personal ones in between, what time is your flight going to be? And what time is this? Do you like to share rooms or do you not like to share rooms? What are your favorite activities? Or do you consider yourself an introvert versus an extrovert? All these different questions she had. But I was just so impressed. And she had a really good taste. It wasn't like some little, like gadget McDonald's fun meal type of box. It looked luxurious with the notebook. The notebook looked beautiful. I carried it in my purse for like a couple of years because I didn't write in it all the time. It was beautiful, and it was a beautiful notebook. It had a nice pen. It had a mug. It had all these different pieces in it. But those things came from the questions she asked, asking me about what I enjoy, what I like, and that's what you can do as well. Simple things. You don't have to go crazy with the questions because, as we're going to talk about tomorrow, there are different levels of questions. The questions you ask free people, people that are getting on free calls with you, are very limited and specific. The questions you ask people that are actually more involved, like the first layer, are more involved. You need specific information to be able to go through whatever problem. Like maybe you do a paid call to answer a strategy call, you have specific questions for that. But the questions that you have for onboarding a client, in particular, a higher ticket client, that's more detailed, and you're going to, notify them that this will take a minute, but it's very important so that I can make sure that you're getting everything you need and that I don't miss anything. And then let them know that it's going to take a little bit of time. Because I think the first questionnaire that goes on my scheduler is like three questions. The questionnaire that I ask, oh, absolutely. I ask for the address after I ask for everybody's address because I say I do birthdays. I'm gonna send you a card. That's usually what I say. But they're actually gonna get a present. And even my lower ticket people, if they don't want to give me the address, oh, okay, then I send them a digital card. But if they give it to me, they're gonna get an actual paper card. So, and that was Kay that asked that. Do you still ask for someone's address to send them a gift if your business is online? My whole business has always been online. And I guarantee you, you won't have to ask but once. When somebody sees you ask for the address, especially after they've become a client. Now, do I ask for people when they're coming on my email list? No, because they may not become anything more than, on my email list. And even in my membership, I don't have any of those people's addresses. But when they move up to something else, then they're going to get that same questionnaire. And there's a workflow for that too, that you will get them. But it has nothing to do with my business being online because we're still connecting. And I still want you to feel the same way that people feel if they were in a live workshop sitting with me or if they lived in the same town. Because if I'm going to send you something, and you can word it how you need to, you can say, hey, I like to acknowledge birthdays and I send cards out. If you don't mind, I would love to get your address so I can send you a card. And if people are funny, I've never had anybody refuse. So, yeah, I think once they know that, oh, they're going to think about my birthday, because all the information is in the questionnaire. And I also put that question about the information about the address there as well. So they know why I'm getting the address. And they feel free to say no, but I just think once people know that you're going to send them something, or there may be at least an acknowledgement of birthdays and stuff, they're not going to say no. And they're trusting you to coach them. They're not going to say no. And I think for the most part, I feel like that's one of the things why they respond so well. They know that, hey, you're my virtual fitness coach and we do a lot of things together or we do whatever together, but it's virtual. But the work you do is it's still work. And your relationship you're building is still a relationship. So I believe that they understand that, most people do, and they're open to completing everything in the process and very happy and surprised when they do receive something. I hope that answers your question, Kay. So after I went through halo effect, loss reciprocity, getting rid of buyer's remorse, increasing the lifetime value. But this is one that I feel like is really good for service businesses where you're doing done for you, insulation against mistakes. Now we're all human, so people make mistakes. The difference is, your project may hit a bumper and man, you acknowledge it quickly. Hey, I'm so sorry. I made a mistake about whatever, whatever. It's going to take me a little longer. But when you have an emotional connection to the person, you're less likely to get all up in arms about something small. And I'm not talking about something big. I'm talking about people will fire you over something small if they don't know who you are. They just think you're a vendor. So if they feel appreciated, they will forgive these small slights or small mistakes. And I think that's huge because I did done for you for years and I made mistakes. And especially when I was working a job and trying to corral all my clients and stuff, little things got mixed up, but they always felt, like, oh, thank you for telling me, Shante. No, that's fine. I don't need it. You can, it'll be 2 more days is fine or whatever the mistake was, or they caught something and I acknowledged and apologized, but they never got all rowdy about it. And I think it's because we had that kind of relationship because I showed my appreciation early. But you want them to have emotional connection right away. That's the whole goal of showing your appreciation, having your clients feel like you're building a partnership together because they will forget that. That won't matter when you're really connected. And this is what we can call it kind of like revenue protection because, when you're new in something, you make a mistake, we're done here. Bye. But you build a relationship, they see you, you see them, they're like, it's okay. It's not a big deal. So before I go further with how to execute this, I want to see if anybody has any questions about the onboarding process itself. If you have some questions, just put them in the chat because I know a lot of people they get clients and then they just start working after that. They may have get on the call and ask some questions. That will work in a pinch, but we do not want our business built on that. We absolutely do not want the business built on that because I'm assuming you guys are going to start getting flooded with clients. You can do that with 1 or 2 people, but when you get 15 people reaching out to you and signing and paying the invoice, you're not going to want to be trying to write up 15 different welcome emails. You're not going to be trying to figure out what to say and do to 15 people. You want to have a streamlined process that everybody gets the same process, whether it's the same program or not. For each program, that process can be the same. And then this stuff can happen while you're asleep. That you don't have to do anything special once you set it up. So I don't see any questions. Um, you know what? Let's go back to that being a business, virtual business online. I feel like you have a heads up when you do show your appreciation because honestly, a lot of people are not expecting it and a lot of people don't do anything special because I'm online. I do my business online. I don't have to do anything special. I can just work in my pajamas. I feel like if you take the, extra step to show your appreciation to your client early on in the relationship, that you're going to be ahead of the game of some of these other people that think, oh, virtual is the easy path. I don't have to do anything. I feel just the opposite. I feel like we need to work a little bit harder than everybody else to show that we are serious and we do care about our clients just as much. Just because we're not in the same room with them does not mean that we are not as engaged with our clients and invested in them. So that's my take on it. But I do feel like Ty is asking, what kind of questions are on your client questionnaire? Um, Now, my client questionnaire has actually, I can't, I'm not sure I can show you here, but I absolutely can read some of the questions out to you. Let me see. Well, questionnaires. Got a couple. Most of them, where's my process? Let's see. Hmm, I'm looking, I use ClickUp to organize all my stuff. I'm going to my ClickUp. Okay, let's see. Um, okay, where's my form? Oh, I'm in the wrong spot. Okay, I'm going to read a few of the questions that I've got. Now, I've got question forms in a couple of spots. I have forms that I built out in Google Forms, and then I've got forms that I have in my client intake inside of ClickUp because I want to, my one-on-one clients will be brought in and they'll have like their own dashboard in here. So some of these things, they'll have a link and then they'll have like a pocket where all this stuff lives. So that's why the other questions are in Google because people may need those questions from the membership or from another group program or from the retreat. So I ask for their name, their location. I've got spot for their address, email address, what type of business they're building because I'm a business coach, how long they've been in business. And I have drop downs for some of the stuff. Some of the stuff I want them to describe the answer in their own words. Some of the questions are more drop down, like been in business, just getting started, 0 to 6 months, 6 to 12 months, those sort of answers. They choose one. And I have what prompted them to seek coaching. That's a question that I often ask because I want to know, have they tried something else? If they haven't tried anything else, are they just starting and they've decided they want to, take it to the next level, or what are their reasons for coming to a coach? Because sometimes people have tried a lot of different things and they're just trying one more thing because they just like to try things. And I want to make sure I'm a fit for people that are actually ready to do something, not so much as, oh, learn a course, do this, do that, because that's a whole nother category. I ask them what offers or services they provide, and who their ideal client is. And I want to hear it in their words because a lot of times people aren't quite sure, or they have a big general area, and I know that I'm going to have to help them break that down because when people say, "Hey, I help women lose weight," no, no, that is way too general. So I know I can put a mark on that. That's something we're going to have to work on because they believe that's their ideal client. And then ideal client is very different from target audience. Ideal client is that person that you wake up in the morning wanting to work with them. You see their number on your phone and you're excited because you got some ideas about what they can do in their business or whatever that you're helping them with. That's your ideal client. Target audience is women over a certain age wanting to do a particular thing. That two different things. I ask them their ideal client in my questionnaires. I don't ask target audience until we get moving through the coaching. One question I ask the free group, the group, or the paid group, and the one-on-one, what are your top three challenges right now? Because that answer gives away so much. And that's intel that you need for how you're going to help them. Because You can, if you ask people, what are you currently, what problems do you have? They could go down a list of 10 or 12 things. When you ask people what's keeping you up at night, what's your top three challenges in your business, that's a totally different response. And that's the response that I would want. And I would suggest that you want them to narrow in on the things that really matter. Because that's what people invest in. They're urgent problems that they care about. What habits or patterns that may be holding them back. Some people are very self aware and some people aren't. So I kind of use that as people that maybe they know that they procrastinate and that's why they're coming to a coach for accountability. Or maybe they know that they're super shy and they aren't doing anything to get in front of other people. So that could be something else that they're struggling with. Another question, um, top three goals for the next 90 days, not for the next year, for the next 90 days. I want to know what their goals are and if they're actually realistic so that I can look at them and see, okay, how can I help them get to that point? What kind of things can we do? And I want to know that stuff as soon as possible. I ask this with all the 1 to 3 goals. I ask the top three challenges and I ask the 1 to 3 goals from free calls to paid calls with everybody because that information is important, even if it's somebody on a 15-minute free call. It's important to know how I can help them. Um, what long-term outcomes? Sometimes I ask that. Usually, I'm asking that if they very new to coaching or working with a mentor. Now, keep in mind, I have a big list of questions. I don't necessarily this list here. I don't necessarily send this list. I may ask these questions on a call. Like we may be on a call and I go through it. I can pick and choose which ones based on the person I'm talking to. And you'll get to the point where you've had so many calls with people that you'll know if you're on a sales call, which of these questions you're going to ask and which of the questions you're going to front load and get the intel before the call. Um, One important question, especially for our premium offers, high ticket, what motivates you to keep going when things are tough? And let them share in their own words because that can be very telling, but it also can give you a heads up of how they manage things when they're having, obstacles, especially with, weight loss and fitness. When you're stalling and you're thinking you should be making progress and they're just not making any progress, are they going to like give up? Are they gonna, have a hissy fit? What is their way to walk through this? How do they stay motivated? And if not motivated, how do they stay disciplined to do what they need to do? Um, I also ask what type of accountability, a level. Like I have a drop down. I say weekly check-ins, milestone-based check-ins, as needed, flexible. I will tell you in my experience, and weekly is the most popular. Nobody chooses milestone based. I've never worked with anybody choose that. They always say weekly or as needed flexible. Because most of the time, in my experience, people come to a mentor or a coach for accountability. That's one of the biggest things. Sure, they want the knowledge, they want the strategy and tactics, but number one, I believe, is accountability. So that's one question. Oh, one of those questions that start to kind of get into the information that we were talking about earlier. What's something fun or unique about you that I should know? I told her that I was a planner holic. I had 5 planners to manage my day, and I had 6 notebooks, and I like to color coordinate them. And she saw me with a picture with my black planner, and she got me a cute black notebook to go with it, and that was inside of one of the boxes, and the whole box was black and black ribbon and all the things inside. So all my little stuff, I took a picture of it and sent her. All the things on my desk were like black and matching. I thought that was so cute. Another one that's kind of referencing what we were talking about is what ways do you reward yourself? Now, this can be very interesting for a fitness uh, coach or business owner because Typically we like, oh, I'm gonna have some wine, I'm gonna have some chocolate cake because I lost 10 pounds. Yeah, no. Mm-mm. So they're gonna have some other solutions, and if they do have food driven solutions, you know that this is something that you're going to have to work with them through that to find some other gifts or rewards or whatever. And that's a way that you can start to do that with them, with your appreciation, giving them things that maybe they're going to mention in your questionnaire. You're going to ask them what type of things make bring you joy or make you smile, and they're going to tell you. Maybe you got asked about pets. I started asking about pets when I got a dog because I didn't really think about pets so much. I asked about a spouse and if you had children, and that they told me the children's name, and I would put something. If it was a mother with children, I would put something on there. But pets, oh my goodness, yes, pet people love when you give them something for their pet. These they have so many companies that have these cute little doggy treats or the cute bowl or some kind of cute rain vest or whatever. And they don't cost that much. I mean, some of the places do, but most of the places don't. But remember, ask you learn all this information about your client and they will be amazed. Even though they gave it to you, they're gonna be like, oh my God, she knows I have a dog named Fido. She knows my dog is purple, has purple fur and loves to wear his little rain jacket. They will love you for that. And they will feel that much closer to you as a client, and your relationship is, oh, Ty said she would love someone sent something for her dog. Oh my goodness. You just don't know how people react to things like that. They just love it. I'm going to send my daughter something for her cat. It's like the cat looks like it's rolled up in a burrito. It looks so cute, but I was thinking, would the cat even stay in it? Doesn't matter. That's something she thought was cute, so I'm gonna get that for her. But clients with pets, oh my goodness, over the top. And they will love you forever when you acknowledge their pets. It's really just about acknowledging your clients, helping them to feel seen, and helping them to know that they're important or VIP in your eyes. That's the main thing about this whole process. So we talked about what client onboarding is, how you use it, some of the questions. Tomorrow, I'm going to make a video and show you all three of my forms. The one that I use for the free people, the one I use for my group program, which pretty much is for the retreat, and the one for the premium VIP people. I will show you a picture. Is that my dog? I will show you a picture of those on screen share, those three forms, and talk to you about how different they're used. Like the free one, minimal questions, just get the goodness that you need to get on that sales call with them. And then the group things like retreats or a group program, you're asking things that generally are going to need you, you're going to need to help you, go lay down, need to help you help them, especially in a group environment with community. Now, depending on what people invest, that's another thing. So I'll save the other information I was going to break through the forums tomorrow. And I want to talk a little bit about kind of figuring out, like, at what point do you give gifts? Seeing those forms with Kate. Yes, Kate, they will be so, then you'll understand. I know I'm kind of talking to the screen right now, but when you see the form, you'll see how what I mean when you're getting the intel that you're going to need, especially with the free stuff. You get the intel that will help you be able to determine if you can help this person, if you're going to be a good fit. And so determining what you're going to give people is super easy. One, you don't have to worry about this is not an invest, this is not an expense, it's an investment because one, you can when you figure out your overhead for your programs, you can put that included in the overhead. But usually there's no reason to go, hog wild with the programs. You can do whatever you need and whatever is appropriate. Like for the group program, I would say you could send a card, handwritten card. You could send a Starbucks card saying, hey, for our next coaching call, you guys are going to need to be energized. Here you go. Especially if you're at the beginning. Maybe I've got a small membership. I could send everybody there a Starbucks card if I wanted to. Um, Depending on what type of clients you have, if you've got something that they've spent 300, maybe they spend $100 a month for a year or whatever, you could send a card, you could send something light and small, but that they notice is a gift, especially when it comes to something like cute for a dog or something, a mug with their name, something for their business. I've sent that before. I sent a tote bag and a brand, a mug with the company's brand on it. That did not cost me much. But as you start to get over 1,000, 2,000, then you want to send a more thoughtful and intentional gift. Note, personalized does not have to equal expensive. You can do a lot of personalized things without it costing a lot of money. So I would start with that, and I would limit it to cards and smaller things, but not, useless stuff. Make it something that's relevant to the person's business. If you're a business coach, if you're a fitness coach, it would be something that's relevant to help them. A small food journal or something around that line of thought. You could have, there's so many cute, like helpful things you could give to a client if you were a fitness coach. I mean, I could see quite a few. I mean, some of these bands and things aren't very expensive, but if you are a coach with a program, say maybe you're charging like 300 to 500 a month, I would just stick with something like $50 or less for that kind of program. If they're doing something monthly, you give them one nice present and then you can send them cards when they have milestones or whatever. You spend over $2,000, you want to start thinking about that, creating that list of questions so you can find out what their favorite foods are, what their favorite items are, what type of things make them smile. Do they have pets? Do they have a family, like children? What are their children's names? What's their spouse name? And don't forget the old reliable, their birthday, because believe it or not, people get worked up when you send something to their birthday. I'm like, so many people have like called me back after and like, oh my God, that was so beautiful, the plant, the mug. So I'm like, it was a birthday present. I really think people should celebrate birthdays, even if it's some small process. I really love the idea of celebrating birthdays. So that's just how I am about birthdays. But you could create your own process. Maybe you're the type of business that a lot of holidays matter to you. Like maybe you're a fitness coach for women, and all the women are mothers. Maybe you're a coach for post baby mothers. So you're gonna get them this cute little thing for their baby. Maybe they just had a baby. You know the milestone. The baby's not a year yet, but when the baby turns a year old, you're gonna send them a cute card and a beautiful little thing with the baby's like milestone birthday. That would be amazing and adorable. What based on whatever your business is, there are so many opportunities to show your appreciation to your client and to let them know that they're more than just a client to you. That is a relationship you're building. So, let's see. Now, tomorrow, I'm going to make a video about the whole onboarding process to let you know one, what the client journey looks like, and two, once we go through from getting on a free call to moving into maybe a group program to moving to one-on-one level, I'll show you all three of those forms and what would be involved in sending those out, and even the automations involved, because there's not a lot of automation for the free one. First of all, if you've got a Google scheduler or Calendly, you can ask questions on that form. I would never ask more than 3 or 4 questions because too many questions, people aren't going to fill it out. So have the hardcore mandatory questions, the name and email, and then ask, the top 3 challenges around whatever the problem is they're trying to get help, what their goals are, and maybe one other one-off question. That isn't really about, you know, totally onboarding. That's just about onboarding a person for a free call so that you can be ready to give them that free call. But the second piece to that is before they get on the call, you could have another questionnaire that's more in depth because that first one isn't really going to tell you anything but their first three, the top three challenges. Sometimes at first I use the one that I use for group, I use that for people that actually got on a call and I sent it to them later. Like, okay, the workflow says they booked the call and right after that they get this questionnaire that says, hey, in order for me to help you, maximize our time together, I have this short questionnaire. If you could fill it out and submit it to me at least 24 hours before our call, I would appreciate it. I really want to be able to be as helpful as possible to you or whatever. So you give them the idea, which is the truth, that, hey, I need to know as much about you as possible before our call so I can help you. And I also have the stipulation hooked up in my scheduler that if I don't get that form, I'm going to cancel that call because if you can't fill this form out for me, and I'm talking about a free call, then it's not that important to you. And I'm not going to get on the call unprepared. And it's amazing how many people all of a sudden respond. They couldn't do the form, but when you go to cancel their call, they're like, why did you cancel the call? I'm like, well, I didn't get the form in. So, I didn't think it was important. I'll go ahead and go ahead and fill it out because before you're a client, I need that information to see if you're even a fit to be a client. So don't waste my time. I won't waste yours. So we have that questionnaire. That's a little small way to filter people that are just, they're tire kickers. They're not really interested. They're browsing. They're not really interested in doing anything because they're probably not going to take the time to fill out one. So if you don't fill it out, then you're done. But and then the call, the one for group, and then one on one. The one on one is the most intense one. And I kind of warn them that I need this information to help you as part of our admin process for onboarding new clients. And then they just go through the questions and they can take their time. They get more time to, fill that out because it is, I think it's like, what? I think I have like 30 questions on that one because it's a lot. It's going to give me the information about how I can appreciate them, but it's more so going to give me the information of what tools I will need to help this client. Say, if I'm a fitness coach and I need to be able to help my client create a system for herself that matches her business, I'm going to have to ask a lot of questions up front to do that. That way I have everything I need so that I can go and say, hey, this is what we're going to do. This is the playbook, but this is the process we're going to take for you in particular. Because everybody's different. Even though you have your protocols or your framework, something about it will get tweaked for your particular client and you want to know as much information as possible. So we talked about client onboarding, how you can maximize your revenue by just giving a bit up front. If anybody have any questions, put them in the chat. If you've got questions about types of gifts or um, what type of questions you think your business would garner in a situation like this. But I'm open to questions right now. So if anybody has questions, we'll be taking questions. I really love your question, Kay, about addresses because the business of being virtual is virtual. It does not mean that we don't reach out and touch our clients. As a matter of fact, some of the events I attend, they send us things before the event even comes. And it really makes you feel a part of the event, a part of what's going on when you receive something in the mail. Like people love getting snail mail that's not billed. They like to see a card. That's why people still send all these Christmas cards. You get all these Christmas cards and it's just wishing you Merry Christmas, or they've got a picture in it of the family or whatever. Um, Ty, you know my business. What kind of gifts would you recommend for me to send? Oh my goodness, Ty. So since you work with YouTubers, I would think something to help them, asking them questions about, their appearance and if they struggle with their background or having some type of, and especially, well, all the gifts I would suggest to you, Ty, are kind of what people might say pricey. I don't think they're pricey. They might be over $100, but I would only do that for the higher ticket offers that you have anyway, because yeah, they will need those things. I would send things around making the person feel better about the technology, because that's a struggle with content creators, helping them with a tool that will make them feel like they look better. Definitely giving them some kind of gift card to use services that, like an editor or thumbnail, hint, hint, for using those services, so that maybe they're coming in new and they don't know anything about those services, having some type of gift card for them to use for those services. But otherwise, for some type of kind of sit and think, what would benefit your clients in the realm of what you do? So being on camera is huge for your clients. Having the tools to be able to make their videos look as great as possible will be important to your clients. Also, yeah, yeah, I think those two areas, focusing on how they can feel more comfortable and their videos look as tight as they want, which brings me back to giving a gift card with some editor power, editor work. What am I trying to say? So access to an editor. Sorry. Um, the editing service, but I know people do like receiving tangible gifts. That's true, Ty. They do. The editing service is great, but I would send them something when you ask a questionnaire, what makes them feel confident. I remember someone asked me that, and she said, wear a color that makes you feel confident. Look in your closet and see if there's anything that makes you feel super confident, and wear that when you do workshops. And I did. I had this blue dress. I look fantastic in that dress. I always wore that when I had live workshops and I had to stand in front of people. So you could give them some questions along those lines to find out what would make them feel confident and powerful. Do they have a certain color that they wear? Maybe you could gift them some type of scarf that's their favorite color, and something with like their name embroidered on it or whatever. But because personalizing gifts, that's like top tier for people. They feel like, oh my God, especially when you have a name that's not typical. Your Taiwan and Shantae are not typical. You might hear them, but they're not spelled typical. You're not going to find it on the shelf of keychains that say Susie and Matt or whatever. So for somebody to take the time and personalize something with your name on it, that's top tier for people. And they do like receiving tangible gifts. So I would have hand in hand something. Maybe when you get on calls, you could have something for them um, that they can have, and then like the scarf or something about that makes them feel confident. Because I know with YouTube, being on screen is a lot. So something that will help them feel more confident on screen, some type of equipment, maybe, or even something personal to them. I think that could be something as well, especially those things about those pets and the family. Even having like I sent a nice picture frame, and it was a very nice picture frame, and it had her child's name on it because she had one child, and I think it was a little girl, was it a little girl? But I didn't have a picture in it, but I sent the frame. And then when we were on our call, she showed me the picture when she had put the picture in it. That little baby was adorable. But that frame, she just loved that frame because she had it up with the baby talking about it. So something like that. Yeah, if you can do a mix of something intangible and something tangible, like, because I know when we do done for you services, it's kind of you lean toward more some service of some type, but having some kind of object. And if you happen to have somebody that's really a comedian, like really like fun things, or they really like food, you can go that route too. I have gone that route. Okay. All right. If no one else has questions, I'm going to wrap it up here. And if this has been helpful, please like and subscribe. And tomorrow, I'm going to show you those forms so that you can have your client onboarding system as tight and have a built in appreciation system that works for you. Goodbye.